Good afternoon. Getting right down to business here. We're doing it live, doing more at 4 weekday afternoons, right after Guy Benson and just before Randy Wang at 5 on the 790 KBC News Blitz. Right now, Mottek On Money, live on the air, 790 KBC, streaming live online, worldwide at kbc.com. And yes, the on-demand Mottek On Money podcast, kbc.com, Apple, iTunes, YouTube, all of your favorite podcast platforms. Well, happy Crypto Week. We're wrapping things up this week with a record high for the NASDAQ, popping 10 points, good enough for a record high, 20,896. The S&P 500, which started the day at a record high, pulled back just a half point and is now just a whisker below its all-time high at 6,297. The Dow took a 142-point hit today at 44,342. Crypto's in focus with the Bitcoin hitting a record high above 123,000 earlier this week. Right now, about 500 or so to 117,967. This after the president signed into law a bill that establishes the first federal framework for dollar-backed stablecoins, one of the biggest wins yet for the crypto industry. Two other crypto bills also passed through the House this week, and they now move on to the Senate. Closer to home, Los Angeles business, civic leader, and philanthropist Rick Caruso making news this week, 6 months and counting since the devastating firestorms in Los Angeles. Rick Caruso's Steadfast LA initiative focused on the epic rebuilding of the Pacific Palisades, Malibu, and also Altadena, making a big announcement regarding new technology designed to help accelerate the rebuilding process here. And today, Rick Caruso addressed business and civic leaders at the LA5 Rotary meeting in downtown Los Angeles, updating LA on this important effort. And joining us live now, the one and only Rick Caruso. Rick Caruso, thank you very much for taking the call here this afternoon.
Well, hello, Frank. Thanks for having me on. It was good seeing you today at the Rotary meeting downtown. It's a great organization.
Well, it looks like your fan club gathered there once again, and certainly an important gathering of business and civic leaders who were eager to hear what you had to say about the rebuilding effort. And why don't you take it from the top and give us an update on the Steadfast LA?
Well, thank you, Frank. I mean, good progress this week because we did develop, with help from Mike Hopkins from Amazon, who brought in Archistar, which is based out of Australia, to develop an AI model that will now plan check someone's home who wants to rebuild in a matter of hours versus a matter of months. Right now in the city of LA, it's averaging over 2 months to get your plan check done. And only about 25% of people have submitted plans have gotten approved. So it's really slow and it's backed up. This AI model, again, is going to be able to do that in a couple of hours. So we developed the model at Steadfast, and we raised money around it. We've donated it to the city of LA, the county of LA, and the city of Malibu at no cost. And there's also no cost to the homeowners to submit their plans. So it's really a game changer, Frank, and it's helping people's lives, allowing them to get back in their homes and their communities sooner, get under construction, and save thousands and thousands of dollars. So we're excited about that. We're doing a whole bunch of good things at Steadfast in working along with the city and the county.
And certainly you've been critical about the current leadership and how they've handled the rebuilding effort. So thank God you're there to bolster this effort. What about what's coming out of City Hall these days?
Well, you know, and I don't want to be critical for the sake of being critical. I just say it the way it is. I mean, it's been 6 months. There's less than 100 building permits issued in the city of LA, same amount in the county. So the county is really no better. And we don't have the leadership, it seems, to clear the deck, make this process of getting not only people's homes rebuilt, but the schools, the churches, the synagogues, the parks, small businesses need to get rebuilt and reopened. We've got to, change this economic cycle because it's a major impact not only on the areas that have been devastated, but it has a ripple effect throughout the whole city and the county. And we want to do what's right by people who have lost everything. And so I think it's culture that comes from the top, that every morning people have to say, we're going to wake up today at the city and the county, and we're going to do everything we can to get people back into their homes. And you've got to cut the red tape. You've got to put in processes that are easy for people to do. And you've got to waive all the fees and costs. People have already been devastated, so you don't want to make it worse than it already is for people. And so I'm a bit frustrated, but we're going to continue to, work hard. We're going to continue to push the city. And, we are taking the lead in rebuilding the park out in the Palisades through Steadfast and designing it. Very excited about that. We plan to be under construction by the first of the year. Spent a couple hours yesterday in a design meeting. Very exciting, the designs that are coming out. And we're very involved out in Altadena. We're working with Samara Homes. We're going to have the first couple of homes that we're giving away to people who are in the lower income area. They'll get a free home. And we want to get them back in there in a few months, and we're going to be announcing those families soon.
Well, we'll have an open line to you when you're ready to make those announcements and any others.
Things going on.
Certainly. It sounds like it. It sounds like it. We're on the air live with the one and only Rick Caruso, of course, a developer of the most famous shopping destinations here in Southern California, including the Grove, the Commons of Calabasas, and most notably, for the purpose of this conversation, the Palisades Village. Can you give us an update on the timetable for the reopening of Palisades Village?
Well, we have a lot of good work going on out there right now, Frank. We have construction crews out there. Thank God it didn't burn down, but we're polishing it up. We're doing a lot of work. We're spending a lot of money out there. We're going to bring we've got a lot of our existing retailers that are reopening with us and a lot of new ones that are going to be out there. So the restaurants are going to be reopening. The stores are going to be reopening. And we're shooting for mid next year. We'll be reopened. And we're also going to be doing a lot of improvements in the street around us, the business district, because we want to support those small businesses that are around us and really beautify the place. So when people pull into the Palisades, it's going to be a great customer experience. But I tell you, in the interim, there's stores that have opened up in the Palisades and restaurants. Out in Malibu, the same thing, in Altadena, and really encourage people to go out to those neighborhoods this weekend and support the small businesses that are open. They really need the business. They've been hit hard. And with great merchants, great restaurateurs, we should all be out there supporting them.
We were in downtown Los Angeles today, where everybody was thrilled to see you there at the LA5 Rotary event, and certainly downtown getting a lot of attention these days, and heartbreaking to see a lot of businesses closing and impacted by recent events. What do you think it would take to turn downtown LA around at this point?
It's a matter of cleaning it up. You got to clean the streets. You got to get the homeless off the streets and the encampments. Downtown has got a close to 40% vacancy rate. The businesses have left downtown because it's not a good environment to be in. And what happens then is all your downstream businesses get impacted, right? Your small businesses, your florists, your restaurants, your dry cleaners. So business there has been devastated. It can turn around. It can come back. And you can't blame it on COVID that less people are going to work. Every city is seeing record high rents and record high occupancy because it's clean and safe. So our elected leaders, including the mayor, need to focus on bringing down back. It's a terrific area, and we've got to get businesses to move back in.
On the air live with Rick Caruso, and turning to the big topic of conversation these days, and that is AI, which what we started this conversation with, and the great AI tools that are available that you're now using to help the rebuilding process. And also we're speaking here at Crypto Week, Bitcoin, and I know you paid attention to all of this very, very early on, and would love to get your thoughts on AI and the crypto news this week.
It's too late. I'm live on the air.
No, you're on the line. You're on the air. You're on the air now.
There you are. Okay, we lost our signal. I've got this great little satellite dish on top of my car. 99% of the time, it does great.
And it's working right now. So I wanted to get your thoughts on what's happening with AI and Crypto Week here. It's something that you paid attention to right from the start.
Yeah, listen, I think it's great. A lot of people are into crypto. I'm into it a little bit, but I think it's great. It's certainly come into its own, and I don't, not the expert on this, Frank, but what I do like is that I think our capital markets are moving forward and being innovative, and that's what we want to have happening in this country, and we want to take the lead on everything. I certainly want that in this city, to take the lead in this state, and we've got to do a better job with that. So hopefully we'll be doing that too.
Looks like we got some encouraging readings on consumer confidence and retail sales. How are things going from your vantage point?
They're very good. I mean, I was talking to my team today. We just broke up from a meeting talking about it, and sales are strong and remarkably strong. And we're seeing a lot of tourists coming in, especially at the Grove and the Americana. But we are up double digits at the Grove in terms of attendance. Same out at the Americana. Our Valley properties, Encino Marketplace, Commons of Calabasas doing very well down in the marina. So I'm very bullish. The consumer confidence is staying strong. People seem to have spendable income. But we're also, we're a little bit of an anomaly. We're creating these environments that are very safe and clean and fun to be at. We've got some of the greatest retailers on our properties and some of the best restaurants and certainly some of the nicest movie theaters. So it's a place where people want to go and spend time. And, our team is working very hard to make sure every day the guest experience is just phenomenal. And I'm proud of our team. They're a great, great group of people.
On there live with Rick Caruso. And Rick Caruso, you previously served as a president of the Police Commission, and I saw your social media posting about this tragedy today, and it looks like we're getting some new information here now while we're live on the air, and that is, according to the LA Times, the explosive that killed 3 Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies was recovered in Santa Monica, according to sources talking to the Times, as this terrible tragedy weighs on the entire area. What is your reaction to this terrible tragedy involving the deaths of 3 LA County Sheriff's deputies at that facility today, where this bomb apparently was picked up from Santa Monica yesterday?
Well, it's just so tragic, Frank, and my heart goes out to these families. And it's just a great reminder that every day officers, they get dressed, they put on a uniform, put their badge on their chest, and they're working to protect us and keep our community safe. I don't think they get enough credit, and we need to pray for these families, these poor officers that were killed. So my heart really goes out to them, and I really want to thank, whether it's the sheriffs, whether it's CHP, whether it's LAPD, Santa Monica PD, all the regions, Glendale PD. Thank you for what you do. And, all of us, including myself, need to take a little bit more time when you see an officer, just to thank him for keeping our communities as safe as they can be.
Rick Caruso, thank you very much for joining us live here this afternoon, and thank you for being steadfast in your leadership here in Los Angeles. And we'll keep the line open to you for any other big announcements, of course, and join you in praying for the families of those sheriff's deputies who were lost today. Thank you very, very much for joining us live here this afternoon.
Thank you, Frank, and thanks for tolerating my satellite blips. But it was great.
Technology is great when it works, and it was perfect. It worked out perfectly. So thank you very much for taking the call with us live here this afternoon.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you very, very much. And let's get right out to the freeways now. Gorgeous afternoon here on 790 KABC. Mottek On Money continues here in 790 KABC. Mixed finish for the stock market, but good enough for the NASDAQ to reach a record high, up another 10 points at 20,896 to cap off a record-shattering week for both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, which ended a half-point lower today, just below its all-time high at 6,297. The Dow slipping 142 points at 44,342. The VIX index closed down a fraction today. Gold moving higher, up $10 to $355.55 and change. Oil at $67.31. The yield in the 10-year note now at 4.42%. Record-shattering week for Bitcoin on this crypto week. Happy crypto week. You can break out the bubbly if you've had Bitcoin all this time. Bitcoin went above 123,000 this past week. Right now hovering just below 118,000. Crypto week capping off this week with today with President Trump signing into law a bill that establishes the first federal framework for a dollar-backed stable coin, one of the biggest victories yet in the crypto industry. 2 other crypto bills did pass the House this week. The CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency, Anti-Surveillance State Act, and the Clarity Act, which served as additional wins for the crypto industry. In case you missed it, you can bring up my conversation with Eleanor Terrett, who's a crypto expert and an excellent business journalist who tracks the crypto world. As she was on this program 24 hours ago and laid out what's at stake here with this legislation and what it means to investors as well as consumers. You can bring that up on the Mottek On Money podcast on demand at KBC.com. The two bills still under consideration prohibit the creation of a central bank digital currency and assign oversight over all digital assets except stable coins to either the Securities and Exchange Commission or the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC. Both of those bills passed by the House will now go on to the Senate, and it remains to be seen what happens there. Right now, Bitcoin hovering about $500 higher, just below 118,000. Ethereum had a very big week as well, moving up about $40 now at 3,561. Solana getting a pop this week, up around 176. And Doge also moving higher at 23 cents. Stocks with ties to crypto have also surged recently. Coinbase, Robinhood, and Circle, the stablecoin issuer Circle, all got a pop this week. The Genius Act signed into law today by the president outlines how companies can issue and manage dollar-backed stablecoins for payments, giving those digital assets a stamp of approval. That's expected to encourage wider crypto adoption. According to Yahoo, if members, it bans members of Congress, that is, and their families from earning profits from stable coins, but not President Trump and his family. That was something that was discussed today as well. Senior Treasury officials said growth in the $260 billion stablecoin market over the months and years ahead will have a significant impact on the dominance of the U.S. dollar and demand for U.S. debt. The legislation is also expected to unleash a wave of new stablecoin entrants as traditional companies ranging from banks to mega retailers consider whether to issue their own coins. Big crypto news this week. Also earnings, strong earnings reports this week from Netflix, United Airlines. Also coming out this week, impacting the market action. NVIDIA also hitting all-time highs. Let's not forget about the Magnificent One. Let's bring up the latest here on NVIDIA, which hit record highs this week and looks like pulling back slightly today from a record high, down 59 cents at 172.41. Netflix has seen an epic run-up this year, pulling back today by nearly $65 at $1,209.24 a share. Microsoft, let's bring that one up, down $1.65 at $510.05. And Apple, which has been struggling this year despite the big rally, up today at $1.16 higher at $211.18. Platinum has seen a real shine this year, with the price moving above $1,400, still above $1,400 now, but down $16 today at $1,456.10. And silver has seen an epic run-up this year as well. And let's bring up the price of silver here. It moved higher by 12 cents at $38.42 an ounce. Once again, Bitcoin, let's bring up the latest here as we recap the crypto action here. Follow things moment by moment here. So let's bring up the latest here, shall we? Let's bring up Bitcoin at the moment, up about $500 to $117,951. Ethereum up 12 at $3,534. Solana now at $177, and Doge at 23 cents. And now the latest news on 790 KABC.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Carania.
Hello to all my homies in the chat. I'm Haley Carania with some very inconvenient truths.
Your go-to place for the hottest button issues.
Don't you hate when facts get in the way of a good news story?
Cut through the noise and get ready to scroll through the chaos of the modern world, one hot take at a time.
Hear me out. We might need to spread this information 24/7. Let's get into some scrolling time.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Carania.
I love this place.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Mottek On Money continues here, 790 KABC. Is there an electric vehicle meltdown underway? Let's bring in our go-to car expert now, Lauren Fix, editor-in-chief of Car Coach and the co-host of the Total Car Score podcast, who's also keeping score of what was in that big, beautiful bill, which has impacted the EV business as well. Lauren Fix, it's been a while since we chatted behind live microphones. Good afternoon to you.
Well, thanks for having me back. Yeah, there's a lot going on. At the end of September, if you have not purchased an electric vehicle and you qualify for a $7,500 tax credit, that is going away, and that is forever. that will not come back, and also the charging station credit that you would get, which is $1,200 if installed by a certified electrician, will go away at the end of the year. So if you purchase an electric car and you haven't got around to putting in that charging station in your home or wherever you can, now's the time to get it done, because right now the problem is all the manufacturers are all shifting gears, and boy, are they doing it quickly.
On there live with Lauren Fix. Tell any other guidance here for those who are still interested in an electric vehicle as far as the choices and the changing landscape out there.
Well, some of the things that are interesting, part of the big, beautiful bill included a tax break on, it was actually a deduction for interest on cars. So currently, right now, the $7,500 tax credit will go away. And I can hear the sales pitches now. Now is the best time to buy an electric car. That is true, because the inventories are high, the demand is very low, and when that tax credit goes away, it's going to be a problem. Now, we're still waiting to hear the final details on this. We're hearing that it may not be available on a lease, but only a purchase. Just remember, if you purchase an electric car, not lease it, that at the end of 5 years or whatever you want to get rid of it, the demand may be even less than you can imagine, which means you might get stuck with the vehicle. So you have to really want it, and you have to really love it. And keep that in mind. Also note that California no longer has money in their funds for matching funds. They were coming up with at one point it was $2,500, then went down to $2,000, it was $1,000. That's gone too, because they don't have any money left in the funds. So you're really relying on whatever dealers have on their lots. Car manufacturers such as Tesla will still be eligible for that new tax credit that's coming for vehicles that are purchased. And just to clarify that, that's a new law that comes through the big, beautiful bill that allows buyers to deduct up to $10,000 in interest on auto loans for vehicles purchased between 2025 and 2028 only. So that could be valuable if you're buying new, not used, under 14,000 pounds, and it has to be assembled in the U.S., so Tesla qualifies. Hyundai may qualify on some of their vehicles, and they're the second largest EV seller here in the U.S. Brands like Lucid and Rivian should qualify. They're built here in the U.S. General Motors and Ford as well. Again, a lot of car manufacturers are pulling back. They're saying, you know what, this doesn't work. Toyota was the wisest of all of them. They said, you know what, we're not going to go for this. They made the BZ4X. It didn't sell well, but they kind of did it to say we did it. But the fact is they've got great products. You can buy a Prius that gets 52 miles to the gallon, and it's probably one of the smartest choices.
On the air live with Lauren Fix, our go-to car expert, and appreciate that very thorough and knowledgeable update on what's happening with EVs. And looks like last year we saw Fisker go away. Are you expecting a total shakeout in the EV world, given all these changes? There are probably going to be winners and losers here again, right?
There absolutely will be winners and losers. Right now, Fisker is long gone. If you own one, the problem is getting any service on it, and people that do have them, because they were getting rid of them very low price, like $9,000, you could buy a new car. The problem is there's no warranty and there's no service, and that's a problem. Other brands that I think are going to have to shift will be like Jaguar. They're going to go all electric. They're still standing by their all-electric vehicle. No one's seen what it's going to come out like, so they had a disastrous rollout. They did fire their PR company. That they must have listened to them rather than talking to a product planner. But really, car manufacturers need to listen to you. What do you want? And make that product that you want. And that's how they make money. And they've always done that in the past. But since the Obama administration, there's been a lot of pressure on to put electric vehicles out, and they have. Many of them have realized this is not going to work. Ford is in actually a pretty good position. They've got the Mach-E. They'll sell a few of those. They'll cut back on production. The Ford Lightning truck, they're sitting all over lots. If you want one, there's some great deals out there. General Motors is still currently, as we speak, saying they're going to coexist with gasoline-powered and electric vehicles, but we do know that down the road they are planning on bringing in hybrid vehicles. They're just very late to getting there. Brands like Honda and Toyota, very smart choices. They've always been able to come up with hybrid vehicles. There's a lot of things, but the electric brands, cars like Audi, Mercedes-Benz, and BMW have all said, well, we'll make them if people want them. But Mercedes-Benz already said they're cutting out their whole EQ line, which was all electric. And they read the writing on the wall correctly, and they reacted quick enough. Not every brand is doing that, but we're starting to see the shift. And it does hurt these brands because they produce products that they took a loss on, and now they want to make products that they want to make a profit on. but now they're struggling to get there. And so this is going to be interesting to watch, although there was a break from President Trump to the EPA that if you owed money for the corporate average fuel economy, which was if you didn't make the average of 34 miles a gallon, you would pay into the EPA, and that would go for green new initiatives. They said all the way back to 2021 is gone. Don't pay the bill. And that's really good for brands because then they'll have some cash available to invest in cars that you want.
Very interesting. What about Chinese EVs coming to America? We see these blue new Waymo vehicles, these little blue minivan Chinese EVs. Now, it looks like Waymo's expanding their fleet beyond the Jaguars that have been using. The Zeekr Group or Geely Group Chinese EVs have hit the roads here in Los Angeles. Have you had a chance to look at those? And what's your reaction to those hitting the streets here?
Yeah, Zeekr is actually part of a company called Geely. It's Geely. They own Polestar and also a big chunk of Volvo, which are all hurting because they went with the all-electric lineup. Overall, as far as electric cars, we're not going to see them here in the U.S. There's 100% tariff on them if they come in, and that's also true in Canada. So if you were going to sell a vehicle that's all-electric that's built in China, that 100% tariff makes them really unobtainable for consumers, and it wouldn't make sense for a manufacturer. But overall, in China, one of the things they're noticing is they had over 120 brands. That's a lot, all making Chinese vehicles, all with government subsidies. And now they found that only a dozen of them have made a profit, and the rest are probably going to close their doors. Again, that's the worst thing for you as a consumer, to purchase a car that's no longer in business, because what if you need service? What if you need parts? It's going to be a problem. Or you're in a collision, then you won't have any way to put the vehicle back together. And it does create some doubt with people, which is why people typically stick with name brands. Even Tesla has become a name brand. If you want one, there are deals out there. It's important to note that you're not going to see Chinese vehicles here, certainly not in the near future. There are some, like the Zeekr, which is what they're using for Waymo. We've got robo-taxis coming, which are going to be Teslas, and Cruise, which is General Motors. So I think there's a lot of issues on that. I just posted a story on my Car Coach Reports YouTube channel about how Tesla is trying to bury the truth on their autopilot crashes and all the data and all the court cases. And that does also include Waymo and Cruise and Uber. So we are not there yet. So while they think it's going to be mainstream, I would be concerned, and you should be concerned, everybody should. If there's an autonomous car next to you, you don't know what it's going to do. And if it impacts you or your situation and the people around you, that could be very dangerous. So we really need that information released. We really need to see real numbers and what's going on before we let them just wander all over the streets and people get hurt.
Yeah. Look, we should spend some time talking about not self-driving, but autonomous vehicles like Waymo, self-driving essentially vehicles, and the different situations that they've gotten themselves into during the time that they've been on the road. But before I let you off the hook here, a huge recall from Ford, recalling nearly 700,000 SUVs. This is certainly big news. Possible engine fires, and Ford stock took a hit on this news here. The recall of nearly 700,000 SUVs after a year-long fuel leak investigation. What do we need to know about that one?
That's pretty serious. If you have a Ford product and you're not sure, go to the Ford website. They'll list all the vehicles, whether it be you or your neighbor or a friend. You don't want to have a fuel leak because that means fire. And find out if your vehicle is on the list. If you're within the window, let's say I don't have it in front of me, but let's say it's the brand and model you have, take the vehicle identification number. It's right in front of the driver where the windshield meets the dash. Write that number down and call the Ford dealer and ask for service. Give them that vehicle identification number, and what they'll do is they'll run it. And if the car is one of those vehicles, they're going to tell you not to drive it, and they're going to come get it. And so it's important that you get something like this fixed. Just like back when we were talking about ignition switches and airbags and all these problems, if you've got a problem, you want to get in front of that. You don't want to have a situation where you're driving and suddenly you think, oh, I smell gasoline. It could be too late.
Anything else that's coming across your desk, Lauren Fix, that our drivers here in Southern California should know about?
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. Right now, automakers are going to Washington. They want them to get out of the auto business, and that's one of the biggest problems we discuss on a podcast that talks about the winners or losers. That's also on my Car Coach Reports YouTube channel. One of the things we notice is that the biggest reason that car manufacturers are having such trouble is because the government has gotten their fingers into the business. And what happens is it makes cars more expensive, about $4,000 a car. And so for you as the consumer, you're paying more for vehicles than you've ever spent before. Since 2019, the prices have gone up almost $10,000. That's a lot. And so it puts a lot of people out of the marketplace. And car manufacturers want to sell cars. That's what they're in the business for. So they're asking the government to stop nannying them, stop being their mother and telling them everything they need to do, because they're making safe vehicles. But when you put too many burdens on a car manufacturer, they spend more time working on all these little rules like kill switches and everything. And what ends up happening is cars get more expensive and they become unobtainable for the average person.
That's for sure. Lauren, thank you very much for joining us live here. That is Lauren Fix, editor-in-chief of Car Coach and the co-host of the Total Car Score podcast, live with us here on Mottek On Money on 790 KABC.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Caronia.
Hello to all my homies in the chat. I'm Haley Caronia with some very inconvenient truths.
Your go-to place for the hottest button issues.
Don't you hate when facts get in the way of a good news story?
Cut through the noise and get ready to scroll through the chaos of the modern world, one hot take at a time.
Hear me out. We might need to spread this information 24/7. Let's get into some scrolling time.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Caronia.
I love this place.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Mottek On Money continues here in 790 KABC. Some interesting surveys released recently about what Americans have to say about the impact of the presidency. And also, we got a PR disaster that everybody's talking about involving the CEO of a company caught canoodling with the company's head of HR, human relations. They were caught on that kiss cam at a concert. Let's bring in our veteran PR expert now, and that is the one and only Michael Levine, who's handled, well, hundreds of clients and, of course, also has authored many best-selling books. And Michael Levine, based right here in Hollywood. Michael Levine, thank you very much for taking the call here this afternoon.
Well, thank you, Frank, and thank you for sharing your valuable audience with me. I feel terrible, for that CEO and that woman. They got caught red-handed, and I don't know how they worked their way out of that one.
Well, according to, let's go to the New York Post here. The astronomer CEO is negotiating an exit package now, and he is and his alleged head of HR mistress have been placed on leave after they were spotted on a Coldplay concert kiss cam on Wednesday night, according to one report. From a PR standpoint, your reaction, sir?
Well, I mean, they got caught red-handed, and there's just no viable way that the company could allow it. I mean, particularly noting that she's the head of HR. So I think there's just no alternative but to get them out of the company. And you got it. In today's world, it's a cautionary tale. In today's world, there are cameras everywhere, are there not? So you got to be
no
cautious.
question about it. Well, we are news-driven here, so wanted to get your reaction to that viral news. And in the meantime, something else that caught our attention, the survey here that says Americans say the presidency impacts the nation more than their own lives. Tell us more about this survey.
Well, I guess the central point is that the president's policies and the president's demeanor are attached to national politics, and the average person living in a community does not feel any attachment in terms of how it affects their day-to-day experience with Washington. And so, since the president and the White House are located in Washington, D.C., that's a land far away and not involved in the day-to-day prices of, coffee and gas and tires. And like the gentleman said earlier on your last guest, the price of cars has gone up largely in large part due to government regulation. And it's just a sense that people have that the president doesn't affect their day-to-day life.
Very interesting. Does not. So, what are some of the other points that you've taken a look at in these in this latest survey on how people are feeling nowadays?
Well, look, as I have mentioned, I think in the past to you and your audience, history is written by winners. And so what that means is that a year from now, if the average American feels that the country is going in a better direction than it was a year earlier, then they will likely attach those feelings to the president. And people will say, I knew that guy was brilliant. If, on the other hand, the country is not going better for the average person, the very same people that said, I knew that guy was brilliant, will say, I knew that guy was an idiot. So history is written by winners. We'll have to see the results, and the results will play out both in reality and perception. If there's a feeling that America is moving forward in a positive direction, and for Republicans, I think there is a broad consensus that Donald Trump is moving the country in a long, long, long overdue positive direction. For Democrats, they feel this is the beginning of the end. The apocalypse is upon us. And so, we'll see. And, of course, independent voters always determine elections anyway. And those independents are just predicated on what's the gas price, how's the country feeling, and so we'll just have to wait and see.
All right, and then you got Elon Musk's new political party in the mix as well. So we're going to have a lot to talk about down the road here. Michael, thank you very, very much for joining us live here this afternoon. That is Michael Levine, PR expert extraordinaire, based right here in Southern California, author of numerous books. Live with us here on Mottek On Money on 790 KABC. The NASDAQ has ended the week at an all-time high as crypto week has wrapped up. Bitcoin also touched a record high above 123,000 this week. Right now it's just below 118K. Stay tuned now for the 790 KABC News Blitz, and we'll be back at more at 4 on Monday right here on Mottek On Money, 790 KABC.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Carania.
Hello to all my homies in the chat. I'm Haley Carania with some very inconvenient truths.
Your go-to place for the hottest button issues.
Don't you hate when facts get in the way of a good news story?
Cut through the noise and get ready to scroll through the chaos of the modern world, one hot take at a time.
Hear me out. We might need to spread this information 24/7. Let's get into some scrolling time.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Carania.
I love this place.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.